Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday, the 4th of February. So, let's have a look. After Trump's tariffs, it's now all on hold for a month. So, maybe we'll get back to some technicals for a while, which sort of work until something else blows up. But anyway, we can only trade with what we got in front of us. So, let's have a look then. So euro dollar, obviously yesterday gapped down. Obviously ended up with a nice green bar there, but still a down day. We just about filled the gap there, looking a little bit iffy at this stage, but maybe working its way back through to the monthly pivot, which sits above there. Was already in a downtrend before this happened, of course. Into last week was mainly on the downside on the euro, but yesterday's was it the inflation data came out higher than expected, which isn't really good in some ways, but it'll just mean interest rates will stay higher for longer potentially. Anyway, so where we're sitting here at the moment, euro just catching a bit of a turn here. Actually, it's a weekly pivot we were heading up for. It's below the bigger trends, etc. Don't particularly like it at this stage, and probably will keep clear of it for now. Probably I need to see something more. He hasn't applied any tariffs to Europe at the moment, and it looks less likely he's going to the UK, but doesn't mean say he won't. And I noticed in his speeches he does get a bit mixed up between the two of them at times. The pound, as expected, rose better yesterday. Well and truly filled the gap, and if anything, if you're looking for a long, actually I quite like the shape of this morning. I don't expect it to go up to its R1, but we could get into a bit of a swing long on the pound potentially. Quite like the shaping of how things are shaping up there. It's certainly looking better. The original trend was down here. You've got to sort of look at what's happening pre-meeting, and there was a bit of a downtrend. So if we start looking across the highs here, that was the state of play. It had another test of it yesterday, but ignoring the rest of it, there's potential for that to push on. US dollar yen. So the yen, well, it's not going too far anywhere. It looked for a while that it was going to continue to strengthen yesterday, but it ended up in a bit of a doji bar. And today it's looking slightly softer for sure. The US dollar just taking the lead here. Not really interested in that as it sits. So unhighlight the colour on that one because I had a little tag on it, but that's when I was in it. Okay, we can redraw this or adjust this trend line for God knows how many times I've adjusted this. The Australian dollar, it did recover quite well yesterday. It's a bit everything's a bit in between at the moment. We're still in this near term. Yes, last week, I keep want to say yesterday here, but last week's trend was to the downside pretty much, apart from Friday. But a bit like the pound here at the moment is in the short time frame here. It looking a bit more positive. We'll see what happens post 8 o'clock on these, but there could be some scope. Australia so far seems to have been out of the firing line, but that doesn't mean say all eyes won't turn there. So Canada, after 20 odd years of it's broken the highs in the US dollar CAD. It recovered pretty well there, and it's back. You see the general trading situation is just really continuing where it was. If you ignore the spiky bar, it was still softening here, and it doesn't look like it's okay. We've got this little blip at the moment, the same as most of the other markets, just inverted, of course. Maybe we'll see a bit of a continuation of the dollar weakness this morning. Just got to be careful post 8 o'clock. Things do tend to change. I mean, the shape on this New Zealand dollar is similar to both the Aussie and obviously the pound. They're all shaping up like this. We'll see post 8 o'clock what happens. The only difference is the pound's slightly higher with it. More than filled the gap yesterday. This one only just filled as well. Now I'm thinking upside on these, but again, as I say, you've got to watch out because it was in a downward trend anyway. At times like this, when a regression, if we can find a regression trend there, maybe a little bit more useful to see where was it going, and that was the general path of it leading into last week, and it's sort of back within that sort of zone. Dollar Swissy, it's not really going quite the same as others, although again you can see the original trend was to the upside anyway. However, we could be in for a break of this. I'm not massively convinced on it yet. What it did do was the full depth of the descending channel there was pushed through. Okay, I think we're looking at a lot of these, and they're very similar looking markets. The shape and the current shape in things. It's all about the dollar. So we're looking at the euro yen here, and it's same bit of euro movement against the yen. The yen's sort of a bit dead, not really going anywhere. A bit more aligned to the US dollar at this stage. So we're seeing the same sort of price action here as we are on the euro dollar effectively, he says. If it can come back to it, it'd be nice. It's just taking its time. There you go. It's not too dissimilar. Okay, looking at other markets, quick look at gold. Gold certainly was holding the fort. I mean, last week into this week, it's really done it without much of a blip, hasn't it? Little tiny retrace initially, but look at the way it flew up yesterday, making new highs. Yep, all making new highs with gold. In times like this, you see why China's been buying away at it. Anyway, it's certainly not a sell subject, but not necessarily a buy one from where it is at the moment. Oil. It's a bit of a weird one with oil going on here. It has come back off again, having done its sort of dash up there, but it's lost its shine for me a little bit, but it's following the original route I was looking for. I'm looking for around about $72, and $70, beg your pardon, and it is shaping up in that direction again. Maybe I'll look at it this afternoon in a bit more detail. Right, S&Ps. Quite a messy old situation. They filled the gap yesterday. They came off hard on Friday, didn't they? They double topped there pretty much and came off hard. There's a lot less, I say, certainty. If there was a certainty around these markets, it seems there's certainly more troubled here. The Dow is quite a good one to watch on that. It's normally a little smoother. And Again, this is one to look for this afternoon. Very similar to the currencies, although the current bar is a red bar, but not too dissimilar in terms of the pattern that's happening there. Right, it's going to be a case of waiting a little this morning on these markets. The FTSE, okay, recovered yesterday and then gave it back, and it's looking quite ugly where it's sitting here. It's below one of its quarterly R2 at the moment, but it's become quite a bit of a mess there, and I never like it when it consolidates away from the highs. When it's looking near its highs, it looks like generally it's got more chance to push up here. This doesn't look so good. Maybe the uncertainty creeping into the equity markets now as well. Saying that the DAX looks a little bit on this shinier side, hasn't quite filled its gap yet. If you start seeing this moving this morning, that could be a part of where it goes to. The R1's not that far, much further. Okay, pretty much done on those markets, so I shall leave you there. I think with the currencies, just need to preference actually is the pound. If I've just flicked on the euro, and then hopefully the pound it'll switch over to. There we go. But I quite like the look of this pound, so it's switched back to the euro now. Moved too quickly. Anyway, the euro might follow the same sort of pattern, but I prefer the pound. But I shall give it a little bit of time before I go chasing into it, just in case we get this sort of pop and drop. Right, I'll leave you there. Have a good day's trading. Bye for now.